My work changed a lot during this pandemic, for the better, I think. Partly being isolated, there was really not much else to do except paint all the time. And I had a very serious respiratory problem a year before, so I was really quite nervous and thought this might be my last work. I also, at the same time, like in late February, developed a technique. I was doing what I had been doing all along, but just I made it my goal to layer lots of really wet paint on top of each other and then stroke through it with very rigid brushes. Mostly they're like little brooms, and then palette knife on work. So this painting is it's called Vision Quest. On all of them, the title comes after I finish, much like Robert's. I kind of just paint, and when it looks like something, I'm done. This new technique that I'm using is much faster. It's much faster, and it's been kind of a revelation for me. So I've been doing paintings in a day and a half, where it used to take me months and months. So it's been very, very exciting. This is a small piece, it's 12/16, and I called it Vision Quest because when I was done, it looked like, it reminded me of being on a men's group vision quest in the woods, where you had to kind of walk out and commune with nature and see what the universe was telling you, kind of thing. So I'm not sure I got any great visions at the time, but it reminded me of that period. And this oil on wood. And these are all done since late February. This one's called Alone. Also a small painting, 12/16. And I put it in here so you could see how I go through the layers. It's sort of like an archaeology, because there might be a yellow way deep underneath that I don't know is there until I stroke through and find all of a sudden it pops up. And I do it until a clear image is there, and then I work on it some if I can, without losing the spontaneity of it.
There's a close-up.
I think it was done in early March. And you could look at my Facebook post. It's called Totentanz, because it looked, I mean, I was just thinking of death all the time. It was when New York was in its worst part of the pandemic, and people were dying, and there was disease everywhere. And I was just generally very freaked out. And but the painting felt very joyous. So Death Dance, or Totentanz seemed like the right title for it. Now, one of the new things I kind of figured out in February was a way of blotting the painting with newspapers. And more often than not, the monoprint that it produced was better than the painting. And so I started keeping them. And I had been doing collages before with photographs, artist reproductions, and acrylic paint and inks. And I just saved them, and when they were dry, I started making collages just out of them. I don't have any photographs of the collage that I'm presenting tonight, but tomorrow I'm going to be featured on the website for Empirical Nonsense Gallery. So if you go to Empirical Nonsense or Google it, they have a project called the END Project, END, which is Empirical Nonsense Daily. And they're going to show a different artist every day for 365 days. This started in the summer, I think. And at the end of it, they'll produce a book with 1 page per artist. My day is tomorrow. So if you go to Empirical Nonsense tomorrow, you can see a comparison of the painting and the collages. Oftentimes, these shapes and images that are in the painting you see in the collage or in a cut up version of it, or similar colors and shapes.
There's a question from Mickey R. Do you actually use a broom?
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the question?
Did you use a broom?
Uh, so years ago, and like 20 years ago, we were at New Orleans Jazz Fest, and they had like a little craft area, and there was somebody selling handmade, beautiful artisanal kind of brooms. And I asked him if he would be interested in making paintbrushes. And so he gave me his information, and we communicated, and he made me a whole bunch of broom, straw paintbrushes. And I went through them all, and he recently he's retired now, but made me some more. So I used to use them once in a blue moon, and now I'm using them almost exclusively. I hardly use a brush anymore, very rarely. It's mostly just brooms and use different size brooms and different size palette knives. That's it. I don't know if there's any other questions.
Cool.
I think that's it.
I think that was the only question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can. All right, so you there?